Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Chris. I am a concept designer. I've been working in the theme park industry for about 12 years, and I worked with companies such as Walt Disney Imagineering and Universal Studios. And I'm here today with my buddy Michael.
Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Welker. I am a semi-retired creative producer for the theme park industry. I've also worked for companies like Walt Disney Imagineering and Universal Creative, most recently on Super Nintendo World in Japan. I'm also a writer. I've got a book out, came out a couple years ago, another book in the works. Yeah, Chris and I, we've known each other for a really long time and very recently said, hey, let's do a project together. And that project kind of meandered around, eventually landed on making a video game. And
Mm,
we said, hey, why don't we stream this? Kind of basically do these design sessions that we've been doing, but let's turn the camera on and share with others our journey of learning how to make a video game because we've never done it before.
right. And Michael is currently learning Unity. I'm more or less relearning Blender and kind of wrapping my head around making digital game assets. Tidbit is I did work in a video game company like years ago. However, I did mainly concepts for like buildings and vehicles for the players to blow up. But I never actually had to model it, texture it, rig it, animate it, XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. And so this is definitely a learning experience for me as well, and we hope you guys will enjoy the journey with us. You guys are going to see us fail, you're going to see us succeed, but at least we do it day by day, bit by bit. Hopefully, we can achieve our goal and make something awesome for everyone to play, right? Okay, let's
And if we can
dive
do it,
in.
so can you.
Yes, exactly. All right, let's go ahead and go into our recap. And Michael, do you want to go first, or should I go first?
I don't mind either way. Do
Okay.
you have a preference?
I let me go first. Let me go first,
Okay,
cause
go for it.
I can recap it, and then I could just kind of more or less dive right into what I did, and then I could just throw it
Okay,
back at you, and you could do a recap
sure.
there, and just do it that way too. All right. So I need to. Well, first of all, I need to give you permission to share screen. Later on,
Yeah.
share screen number 3. Okay, everyone sees a blank screen. Perfect. Oh, no, no, no. Here you go. Okay. Do you see this, Michael?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna move us right here. Boom. Okay. So last week what did we do last week? I kind of forget. It's all a little bit of a blur. I showed you guys this, right? These three guys
Mm-hmm.
right here, 1, 2, and 3. And then I said that I would attempt to kind of do a version, clean this up because I started it, but I didn't really finish it. And so I wanted to tackle him and then come make him look good, just like everyone else. So let me turn this off and then turn him on. So
Whoa.
this this is this is what I have so far. Oh, now that I'm looking at it, it might be bottom heavy. Hmm. But anyways, this is what I have so
Wow.
far. So if you
That's
look at him
awesome.
far away, yeah,
I
the
really like it.
yay. The main challenge was to develop a body that encapsulated 3 hinges that connects
Mm,
these radar panel thingy jiggies right here.
mm-hmm.
And originally, like, let me go back here. Let me do this. Um, with this design, oh, why is it doing that? With Sorry, technical difficulties.
No problem.
Sorry. Ugh.
What's it doing?
Oh, I accidentally locked it. I was trying to select it, but
Mm,
because I have this unchecked, that means I
mm-hmm.
can't select it, which is, when it's purposefully done so, then it's great. But when it's like when you want to click on it and it's not selecting, you're asking yourself, why is it not working? Bah. But anyways, yeah. So I was trying to just take the original head and then just kind of figuring out how to take the original head and then use it and then connect it with the hinge of some sort. and I was totally
Mm,
struggling at it this morning. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I just need to create a new head. And then so this is the new design that I came up with. It's from the top view. It's kind of like a um, triangle shaped thing with beveled
mhm.
edges. And then so it has like three sides that can attach to the thing, to the joints. Um, yeah, so that's how it turned out. And I did export this as a FBX, and I would love to see it in the game engine to see how the scale of it looks, if and when you place it in there. But what do you think, Michael?
Sure. My initial reaction is very positive. Like, I think it's awesome. Yeah, like what you did with the work on the head, I think is great. Um, to sort of like solve that problem.
Yay.
And also the addition of those cables underneath
Hmm.
is fantastic. I'm glad we carried that over from the like concept art.
Right, right.
Um, yeah, that's all super cool. The the only thing that I'm not sure if I'm crazy about it or not are
Uh-huh.
the elements at the, and actually I don't have my thing, but I'll just like doodle. Uh, if you zoom out a little bit, um, yeah, these things here, like
Oh,
the
uh-huh.
spiky things up at the top,
Yeah.
I like because in the original concept art, they you know the this wing shape does kind of come up like that.
Hmm.
Um, these though are well, like the ones at the top maybe are okay. The ones at the bottom maybe are too excessive, and maybe that's what you were talking about when you were like, "That's a little bottom heavy." Um, not saying that we
Yeah.
should change those.
Do
I'm
you
not
want to see
like,
it with,
oh
do you
wow,
want to,
yeah, that's perfect.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally understand. Do you, let me see, what can I do? Well, first of all, before I change anything, let me go ahead and duplicate the collection and do that. And then let me do this, call this feedback. And then I'm gonna take this and then uh, I'm just gonna remove it for now and see what it looks like without it.
Okay.
How does that look?
Mm, definitely needs the like horn
Some
things at the top, but maybe because what I liked in the original is it didn't feel like that was an attachment. It felt like that was just a natural extension of like the
got
wing
it.
or the
Got it.
arm.
I see. Ooh, what the hell happened here?
Oh yeah. There you go.
Um, yeah, yeah. Let me see what can I do? Doing this on the fly. Let me see. I am a professional. I am a professional. All right.
Yeah, I'll say if you started this morning, you said,
Yeah, yeah.
or that's amazing.
It was fun. Extrude. Hold on. W. Extrude individual faces. Ah, man,
Whoa.
I'm not gonna be able to do this correctly. Oh, the hell? If I extrude individual faces, then why is it?
Whoa.
Oh, I have the got it. All right, all right, all right. There you go. This is not gonna look
Cool.
good.
So you can just grab the vertices.
Yeah. It am I not looking at the front view? What's going on? Down and then extrude up.
Man, you're fast.
Uh, thank you, but I'm not doing this correctly. Yeah,
Getting there
come
though.
on. Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of it takes more it takes practice to be fast.
Cool.
Uh But I see what you're saying. It's like an extension of what is there already instead of
Yeah,
another attachment dealio, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't know why I like that, but that's just an instinctual gut thing.
Yeah, yeah, and that's always the case. It's based on instinct. That looks dorky right now.
It's getting there. Maybe the
Yeah.
scale, like it should be like bigger or something. But generally speaking, I think it's pretty awesome. Like I'm really digging it, and it feels like it exists in the same world as the other ones.
Hmm,
And it
hmm, hmm.
definitely one of the things that's cool too is with some of the details, like the little antenna that go on top of the head there and the cables, the scale of those things are the scale like harmonizes with the other smaller drones,
Hmm,
which
hmm.
then gives the boss unit sense of scale just from looking at like how big those other pieces are relative to those smaller components.
Right.
It's kind of like how um, Blizzard does this a lot with their like big, beefy, like, warrior paladin type characters. Well, they'll draw
Hmm.
like a really tiny head on like a Reinhardt or something.
Right.
Um, and because the head is like your reference point, then it makes the shoulders and the rest of the body look huge. Like, man, that guy is massive.
Correct. Right.
Um, so it's kind of like it's working for me in that regard,
Nice.
where it's like, oh wow, got it. That this thing's
Nice.
big.
Nice. And obviously, if I do this correctly, and you could always scale it much bigger or smaller as we need to in the game.
Sure.
And yeah, but because I did it this morning, I I'm looking at it with fresher eyes now. I feel something needs to change. Like uh, maybe
Whoa,
maybe this needs to go higher.
that's kind of
Maybe
cool.
uh, like it's just but the proportionality of
Sure.
it needs to change a little bit.
Yeah,
But
that actually looks pretty good.
it
I mean,
looks better,
I
right?
like the asymmetry of like having either the top part or the bottom part like longer, but that looks really good.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I it didn't feel balanced, but now it feels a little bit more balanced.
Sure.
Yeah. Again, we should see it in the game and then see if it
Mm,
actually feels good. Oh yeah.
totally.
So there's this one, and I'm going to save, and then I shall take we'll take a look at the hero ship. Um, oop, actually, oh shoot, uh, here it is. There. Okay. So this is the hero ship. This is what we saw last week.
Hmm.
One of the notes was that we felt the thickness of the plane was too thin on the z-axis, vertical wise. We just wanted to make it a little bit thicker so that it's just a tiny bit more readable. And another thing I changed, Michael, was that I was looking at uh, one of the screenshots, and obviously I don't have it in front of me. I felt that these two parts right here, these two wings, they kind of
Hmm.
got in the way. I felt like I don't know, like it just didn't feel good having these two guys, sticking out like this. So what I did
Okay.
was I moved it into the center a little bit. Um,
Okay.
and and I also by moving it to the center, it still kept the profile of this. It still looked like this, right? However,
Hmm.
it was more into the center, and I also got rid of this little tiny thing because I moved this over here. I got rid of this guy, and
Okay.
also I made the thickness of the verticality much longer in the z-axis. So let me show you what I did. So we went from this to this.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the from the profile view, this is what it looks like. and this is we'll probably see it in the game to see if it feels nicer, but
Yeah.
it I definitely made it more like taller. I don't know what that term is. Taller? It's not taller. Taller, right? Thicker?
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
taller. Sure.
Taller, yeah. Um, this is what it looks like. And I gave a little indication of like the thrusters right here.
Oh,
Just a
cool.
tiny,
That's
tiny,
great.
tiny indication. But I'm very curious as to how this might look in the game. And
Yeah, me
again,
too.
this has been imported or exported as FBX in the correct direction,
Okay.
orientation, in
Yeah,
the correct orientation.
I I still don't know why that didn't work. I'm sure later on in,
Hmm, hmm.
my Unity learning, I'll figure it out and be like, aha, that's why all those months ago that didn't work.
Right. But I've also watched a tutorial, one of those tutorials about like, oh, how to transfer files from Blender into Unity. One of the
Hmm.
requirements was that front-facing view must be facing downwards when you're looking up top, so that when you do
Interesting.
import it, it's the right direction. But I kind of don't want to. I don't understand why it has to be like that. I mean, logically, can't you just turn something around in Unity and
Yeah,
be like, "Hey, I want to reset the orientation. Why can't you do that?"
exactly.
And so I remember on one of the YouTube videos told me like, "Oh, make sure your orientation is always facing front. Front view is looking down when you're when you're looking down at it on the plan view, but and it's looking at the negative y direction." I'm like, okay, I get it, but when I'm designing an airplane, I want it to look up because I don't want it to look downwards because designing it this way it feels kind of weird to me. I wanted to
Yeah,
design it this
sure.
way, so it's just one of those things. I think we'll later discover like, oh, it is a rule that we have to follow, or it's just, oh, I'm missing something, or I set
Hmm.
it in a way that it doesn't matter how Michael imports it into Unity. If I do it this way, it's always going to be facing this way. And there's nothing Michael can do about it, or there's nothing that you can do in Unity. So maybe
Right.
that's a rule that we'll find out, be like, oh, sure, got it. All right.
Yeah, I'm really curious because
Mm,
yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. If you can import a thing and then you can move it all around in the
right.
3D space, like why would it matter? Like when you're exporting it, like make sure that forward is down. But if I can rotate it in the like once I've exported it from here and imported it over here, and I can rotate it over here, does that make a difference? But
Yeah,
apparently, I
that's
guess it does.
yeah, it's so weird. But anyways, so that's what I did for the recap as well as my design. So shall I throw the ball to you, sir?
Sure. Let me download those FBX files real quick while you're kind of while you still have the ball. Are they in the 3D folder?
Yes, they are in the 3D folder in their respective folders. Hero belongs in
Got it.
Hero, and Robots belongs in Robots. I think
Okay, I see.
I remember if I labeled it correctly, the mini boss is labeled as Project Rail Shooter mini boss, and
Let's
then
see
Hero
here.
is like Hero number 3 or something like that.
Yep, got the hero one. Yep, and mini boss got it.
Perfect.
Download. Okie dokie. Cool. All right. Uh, if you'd like, I can share now. Good
Okay.
work with this though. Like I'm
Yeah, thanks,
digging
man.
this so far, man. This is
Thanks.
coming together.
And I will stop
Okay.
sharing. Boom. And then now.
Unity. Here we go. Um, so I tried to get the last session scene to work, but some of the work that I've done since then on the scripts have broken some aspects of the last session scene because
Hmm.
the scripts live outside of the scene save. Like anything you save in the scene is like, terrain and model placement and where are the trees located and how many enemies are there and what patterns are they doing. But the scripts are kind of independent. So I would have had to create like either additional code in the scripts to like turn off and on, which I did last week and it was okay when the code was
Hmm.
simpler. But this week it was like, ooh, that's going to be a big pain in the ass.
Mm.
And I didn't want to make like brand new scripts, so some of the functionality is missing. But for the most part, what we're seeing right here is very close to what we had last week, which was we had imported the both the player ship model and these
Nice.
like enemies. And we kind of animated these two right here. One of the things that broke those, like I can't shoot them now because there was like
Oh no.
additional scripting work. Don't worry, the what I did since then uh, improved that functionality.
Cool.
And I actually cannot get past these three without crashing into them, I don't think. Oh, yep, no.
Oh no.
So, and I can't shoot them, so there's no way for me to go any further
Sure.
in this. But anyway, that's kind of like where we were last week. And then since then, I'll go ahead and load up this next thing. Oh, and you'll see in the console here, it's got all these like errors because of
Mm.
some of the stuff that got broken from last week to this week, but is now fixed. Um, a lot of the things that I did was like kind of under the hood stuff, but probably the biggest thing that you'll notice is up in the top
Start.
left here,
Yeah.
you see the start thing.
Uh-huh.
Now when I shoot these guys, you get points for killing
Nice.
them.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that got added. There's also some things, a lot of I did quite a bit of work, but a lot of it is stuff that's kind of happening under the hood. If
Uh-huh.
you'll notice on the left-hand side here in the navigator, you can see like all these explosion things, and now they're starting to like disappear, right? Um, these like clones, and see now they're gone, or that this last one's going to disappear in a second or two here.
Uh-huh.
Um, boop, now it's gone. The
Nice.
reason for that, like what's happening is um so when I shoot an enemy, and it was interesting because this was a problem that I couldn't figure out, and then later in the tutorial we figured it out, is when you shoot an enemy, the enemy had like an explosion effect, explosion particle effect attached to it that and the script basically said like, hey enemy, when you collide with a laser particle, I
Hmm.
want you to go ahead and play your explosion effect
Yeah.
and destroy yourself
Uh-huh.
because you've been killed by the player, and we don't want you to continue to exist in the world because then you could your hitbox is there and you could collide with the player. Like that's problematic. The problem though is when you tell the object, hey, I need you to destroy yourself now because you've been hit by the player. If it does that too quickly,
Hmm.
that particle effect, the explosion effect that's attached to the enemy, also gets destroyed. So you could
Oh
have
wow.
this, yeah, you could have this problem where, as soon as you hit the enemy right there, it would try to trigger the particle effect, but then the very
Hmm.
next line of code is also like destroy myself. And
Mm.
so then it would like, okay, I got hit by the particle. Great. I'm playing the special effect for the explosion and I'm destroying myself. But the computer processes all of those things so quickly
Right.
that it just looks like the thing pops out of space. So the trick that
Uh,
I had used last time was I just added a little delay. I said like when you get hit, don't destroy yourself immediately. Play the effect for a couple of seconds and then destroy yourself.
mm-hmm.
And that kind of worked, but the problem there was that you could still kind of see the enemy kind of hovering there for a second, and you could
Hmm.
also still
Hmm.
crash into parts of it. So I had to do like a lot of things to kind of work around that.
Right.
But what I learned since last time is this interesting thing where you can basically tell each of these bots when you first load into the world, you don't need to have your particle effect with you. But what I want you to do is when you get hit, create a new instance of the particle effect when you get hit. And
Hmm. Hmm.
so those two things kind of become independent from each other. So when the
Oh,
enemy
sure.
gets hit,
Right.
he
Hmm.
says, I've been hit. I need to create a particle effect and I need to destroy myself. When he creates the particle effect, it's a new game object. It's not like attached to him. It's something that gets created like at runtime or whatever.
Mm.
And then that new particle effect gets created. The enemy destroys himself and goes away. The particle effect finishes doing its play, like it plays through its 10-second duration or whatever it is, and then it also destroys itself. Which is why in the hierarchy over here, you can see like when I'm shooting these guys,
It takes time for it to disappear.
yes.
Yeah.
Why does that collapse itself? The first two actually get uh, added to this like spawn at runtime thing. You actually see these two clones disappear in a couple seconds here.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
There they go. So it takes this particular explosion animation 10 seconds to finish. So those timers are set to like, you know, come into existence, play your animation for 10 seconds, and then after 10 seconds, destroy yourself.
Right.
And what's cool about that is it is like more memory efficient because you don't have all these
Mm.
things that
Mm-hmm.
are
Mm-hmm.
loaded in at the beginning and just sit in the game the entire
Right.
time, hogging up
Right.
all this memory.
I
You're
was going to ask
basically,
you that. Yep.
yeah, so instead you're basically saying like we don't need these at the beginning. We
Mm-hmm.
only need these when you shoot an enemy, so don't bother loading them into memory until we've actually killed something. And then
Nice.
when it's done playing, we don't need it anymore either, so then you can get rid of it.
Yeah, perfect.
Um, so yeah, so it basically it didn't really change anything visually or from like a player perspective, like what you can see on screen. It's really important technical optimization
Right.
for down the road.
Yeah, it
And then the score
makes
thing is
sense.
just um, like a text field that kind of like adds up, and we can adjust how many points each of the bots are worth. These ones are just I think I set it to 10 or whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
Um, and yeah, that
Very
is
cool.
about it, I think. Let's see here. Was there anything else that happened with like a lot of this stuff was like scripting stuff, collision handler, player controls, scoreboard. Yeah, we just did some things with the scoreboard thing, and then the self-destruct thing is the code that basically is everything I just described about like, just destroying yourself.
Right.
Um, uh, yeah, I think that's about it.
Nice. Yeah, no,
Oh,
the
so
optimization
go ahead.
is really, really necessary in order for the game to run smooth and efficiently.
Totally.
So yeah.
Oh yeah, and actually if I zoom out here, you can see this is a little weird, but this is the way Unity handles the whoops, the the text thing. It basically creates this giant text field,
Oh, interesting.
uh, which is where is it in the events? No, canvas. It's in this canvas thing. Um, it's smart enough to know though. There are a couple of parameters. Let's see if I can remember where they were. Oh yeah, in these anchors or this here. These anchor. So this anchor point is basically I'm telling it. It says top left here. You could also do like center or
Center,
left or
sure.
whatever. But basically it's just saying I want to make sure that no matter what size the screen is, you're always anchoring up in the
Mm-hmm.
top left.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there are I can't remember exactly where they were, but there are certain adjustments that you can make either to the scoreboard thing here or to this canvas object that will automatically adjust.
Mm-hmm.
So even though here it's like absolutely ginormous, when I hit play, it shrinks it down to the
Sure.
resolution of whatever the screen is. And this is currently 16 by 9 aspect ratio, which is at
Normal.
19 by or yeah 1920 by 1080 is like standard 1080p.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's about it. The one other thing that maybe is worth talking about would be a little bit more administrative on my end.
Uh-huh.
In my Unity tutorial thing here, I'm going to share a new, or actually, let me stop this running. New share back to the numbers profile. So in here, where we can keep track of, how far I'm getting through this course, I'm actually getting pretty close to the finish line for project number 3, which is this, rail shooter.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
after that, the next thing, I don't really know what Realm Rush is. I think this might be uh, maybe like an RPG or something. Or maybe it's like battle royale thing. I don't really know.
Hmm.
When I watch the introduction, I will let you know.
Okay.
But based on my current estimates, I should be done with this rail shooter project by May 6th.
Nice.
Um, give or take. So I would say in the next probably 2 weeks, I'll be
Hmm.
done.
Hmm.
The next thing on the list is going to be doing enemy hit points. And then a lot of the rest of this stuff is kind of, well, I'm not really sure. Enemy prefabs, that's
Any
kind of just
food?
under head stuff using fine with tag. That's also just going to be coding. Control tracks for enemy waves. This could be interesting
Uh-huh.
to kind of set up like waves of enemies and maybe trying to get them to spawn in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
And then some opportunity for dialogue and music, other sound effects, some post-processing stuff to make it look a little bit better.
Nice.
And that's about it. Then it's just kind of like a wrap up.
That's cool, man.
Um, yeah, so that, look forward to those things coming up. And what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is once I complete this part of the tutorial, I'm going to continue with like the next project because there are going to be additional things in here that I think we can use in our game
Yeah,
that I haven't learned yet. But I'm probably going to do it at maybe a little bit of a slower pace and try to
sure.
spend more time actually like, okay, now that I've got all the basics for the rail shooter, I'm going to start developing levels and try to like start um, creating like gray box
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
yeah, well, developing a level, but creating like gray box scenes or vignettes to see like, ooh, yeah, it'd be fun if like this happens, and start trying to work towards like actually doing some game design instead of just learning how to
Hmm.
program the
Hmm.
thing.
Nice. I think
Um,
I'm very not curious, but I want to see how the which one is it? Boo 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 boo. Uh, there you go. Control tracks for enemy waves.
mhm.
That basically will teach you how to like spew out like spawn a whole bunch of like enemies in various locations as you fly through the map. Is that what that is?
Probably.
Mm.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I, there may be additional I don't know, like tips and tricks in there about like here's how to do this and that.
Yeah,
It could also just be like here's how to use the timeline to create enemies. But he kind of already went over that in the beginning, so I'm thinking this is going to be more advanced, which is great because then maybe I
hmm,
can
hmm,
do some things with it that I didn't know that I could do.
hmm, hmm. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm very curious as to see how like for example like Realm Rush and Zombie Runner how whatever you learn in those courses can go into our game as well. Because I know the Argon Assault is specifically for the rail shooter, but I'm very sure
Hmm.
like whatever you learned in Project 4 and 5 can also be implemented into our games as well.
Definitely. Like one in particular is this one right here, detecting mouse input. I think, oh, maybe this is like a RTS kind of a thing. Um, because one of the design ideas that we've kind of floated and talked about has been separating the movement of the ship from where the lasers are aiming. So that way you can fly the ship with the WASD keys and then aim a targeting reticle with your mouse and then shoot stuff.
Sure. Right.
Based on what I see here, I don't think we're going to get anything like that. So later on, and maybe that's because it's like a more advanced thing is tracking the mouse. Um, so yeah, learning how they're implementing mouse input and targeting in this game might be able to like, hey, I'm just going to copy paste that into the Argon Assault,
Right.
and try something for our rail shooter. I'm not completely convinced that that's actually going to improve the game quality for our game because it
Hmm.
actually is pretty fun in the current game to try and hit enemies while you're just using
The
the
Wazda
movement of
key,
the
right?
ship to aim.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it is fun to like try to move the ship to like, "Oh, I gotta hit this guy over here and then
Yeah.
this guy in the bottom right hand corner." Like that's actually kind of fun if I could just you know move the mouse and be like bam 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 and hit all these guys. It might be too easy.
Right.
but it's a little bit more fun when you kind of have to like move it. Because I could just like have the ship down here and then
Uh-huh.
easily blast all of these guys.
Right.
But maybe then, if in that case, maybe they're moving around a whole lot more, or you have to hit them multiple times to take them out.
Hmm.
And I mean, right now these guys aren't really like moving, obviously, so
Yeah.
this is pretty easy, and this is not indicative of what the difficulty of the final game will be.
Right. Uh,
Um,
I remember bringing that up last week or the last 2 weeks when I mentioned like, oh, it'd be great if we could, use our mouse to to control where we aim. But now that I'm looking at the game, yeah, aiming with the mouse is more for like a first-person shooter. But for the rail game, I think it's just essentially dependent upon the WASD keys. If we do have movements and the mouse aiming, that's more like a Overwatch kind of feel, like if you're on the ground shooting at things. But when you're
mhm.
flying in a rail, it's just, you're flying.
Yeah, yep, I agree.
Yeah.
And this is this is fun and it feels good. I don't feel like frustrated that like I can't. And I think as long as the rail uh the rail movement, the placement of the ship, and the placement of the enemies isn't such that like it is intentionally set up so that way it's not going to be frustrating and that you can actually move into positions to hit everything. Like these first two guys are great. Like their positioning is fine. When I get to the final wave of enemies, you'll notice there's a bunch on the right hand side that I don't think I can actually hit. Because of the way that they're placed, you cannot move the ship. Everything in the canyon is fine,
Mhm.
but when we come out of the canyon and there's that big gaggle at the end, there are, yeah, I think the group on the right-hand side, I actually can't hit. We'll see in a second here. So we would want to avoid doing that. Like if I go all the way over here, I can't
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
go any
Yeah.
further. Yeah, those two
Yeah.
on the far right-hand side, I cannot hit
Yeah.
those.
Right.
So we wouldn't want to do that.
Right.
And I think as long as we avoided that, it should be fine. I
Hmm.
don't think
Hmm.
the player is going to get to a point where they're like, this is like typing with boxing gloves. Like I just don't have enough control to be able
Right.
to do what I want to do.
Right.
Um, I think we'll be okay.
Oh God, this is
Uh,
so cool.
yeah. Um, okay. Now what we could do. Whoops.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't mean to stop share. I meant to stop the um gameplay. Those buttons are like right next to each other.
Yeah. No
Now
problem.
what we could do is import new asset. We will import the new hero ship. And while I'm here, I'll just go ahead and import the mini boss. Okie dokie. So now let's go to the player rig, player ship. Oh, that's right. Okay, that's how I did that. And let's go down here. And I will turn this off. And here's the new one.
Oh, Redline Dragon says, looking good. No, thanks so much, man. Appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, he also said, how's it going? Just posted something in the I wanted you to see. Did you
Oh,
put it in the link in the chat box? I don't see anything. I don't see a link in the chat box. Maybe you put it in Discord. Let
1.75.
me know, and I will take a look
Five,
after we're done.
1.75,
Thanks so much, Dragon.
1.75. Okay, I think that's placed about right.
Orientation
Maybe
looks good. Nice.
forward here.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that's good. Okay.
Nice.
And then did this, yep, player controls. That's right. Okay, so add component, player controls. Um, all the other settings stayed the same. Uh, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. Well, whatever. Okay, so now we can get out of that prefab. So now that guy's good. And I think now we should have the new ship in there. Here we go.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, this looks great. Well, what do you think, Chris?
Those two fins still bother me. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah, it just
Um,
it's just popping out.
well, if you want, we could try something else.
Mm,
I will say, as cool as I think they do feel kind of like they're part of the enemy vocabulary visually.
mm-hmm.
So maybe we can do something else that's a little bit more heroic and less of the sort of like, and because they really look like the same sort of horns that are kind of coming out in a couple places, and the
Yeah,
like clamps on the ends of the wings for some of the
right, right,
enemies.
right. But it definitely feels a lot better than the last week's plane because I definitely did not like how it stuck out right at the outside of the wings. This feels better, but it's still bothering me a little bit. I don't know why.
What do you think it should be? Like, should there
I don't
just be nothing there?
I don't know. That's the thing. I know it's supposed to be there, but I don't know. I don't know.
Because I think it looks great. Like I really like it.
All right, all right. Maybe it just takes time for me. Oh, cool. Oh wow. Oh, I didn't know
Oh,
you.
yeah, I guess I did finally get those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
because I it swung back around and was able to like get them.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it
Red
crashed.
Dragons ask, is this a one-player game?
Yes. Mostly just because I don't know how to program a multiplayer game yet. But that is a course that I'm planning to take at some point. Right now, I'm still trying to get through this like this like basics of Unity 3D course.
Right.
After this one, there's one on multiplayer, and there's also one on mobile devices. And there's an intermediate 3D course that I've got a hold of as well. So hopefully, by the time I get through all of that content, I will be able to program any game that we could possibly dream up. But right now, multiplayer is beyond my current skill set. But
Hmm.
that would be great. Like, I'd love to be able to have this be, especially if we could do something kind of like the Time Crisis game, right? Where
Mm,
you're like,
hmm.
where you could have ships kind of doing crossfire things where you're like helping each other, and then
Yeah,
one of you
yeah,
is being attacked, and then another, and you can kind of like get in behind your buddy,
yeah.
and then later on he helps you. Like,
Right.
that would be really awesome.
Yeah,
um
like an enemy is chasing you, and then if I don't kill the enemy, there's nothing you can do about it.
yeah. It
Because
just
it's like
I'm gonna just take damage.
yeah, you're screwed if I don't kill him, and it's like, oh crap, it's on me to save your ship, right? So
Yeah,
that
exactly.
yeah, I think that's very, very, very cool. But yeah, for now
Good question though.
it's just a one player for now. But we'll see how far we can get through the, or when we say we, I mean Michael, get through the tutorial. Sorry, you got to do the heavy lifting on this. But when it's my turn to learn, or not that it's my turn, but when I have the strength and the determination to learn Unity, I will pick up the slack as well. But Michael, for now,
Yeah,
Michael
no
is
problem.
the Unity guru.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can get that mini boss in here.
Yeah.
I think what I want to do is I'm going to put it in that crater over there,
Cool.
uh, because I think that might be a good spot where we can get a good look at it. Oh shit! Whoops. Uh, how come I can't move? There we go. What the hell? That is weird. Oh, it is moving. It's just moving by the tiniest little amount. Uh, Sometimes this is a real pain. If I go to Swarm 8 and zoom in, here we go. That's close enough. All right, let's get this guy in here
Oh,
and then
cool.
move this up.
Oh, nice.
That's not quite there. Did I change the scale on these guys? Nope, they're all 1-to-1. Okay, so this is the same scale as the drones. Um, Where is the eyeball?
Oh, apologies. I didn't put any textures in there yet.
No problem. That is the eye, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is
Okay,
yep.
cool. So yeah, we'll have it, let's rotate this a little bit, have it kind of face this way. And yeah, I guess let's see what this looks like actually in game. It'll take a little while to get there.
Yeah. No problem. Pew 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 pew.
Oh, the other thing I'm gonna do too, once I finish with the game dev course for the rail shooter, I'm
Uh-huh.
also gonna go back to that YouTube video that I shared with you of the guy who remade Star Fox in Unity.
Oh, right.
And see if there's anything there that's different or better or more suited to what we're trying to do.
Mhm. Mhm.
And mix and match the
Mhm.
different
Mhm.
pieces that work best for us.
Nice.
Um, One thing that may be to put like on your radar, because I'm interested in like looking at it or maybe trying to work on it, but would be like the particle effects, the like, oh man, that's so cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Whoa.
I feel like we could probably go bigger, but it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And feel free. I think you could scale it up, right? In Unity.
Yeah. Well, the ship's gonna fly away at this point.
There.
Actually, I
Yeah.
can just go into the timeline and move us back. Oh, maybe not. Wait, here we go. Where are we now? There we go. So let's just back up a bit. Can I do that? Where's the ship? Maybe I can't do that while it's playing. Okay, well, fuck it. I'll just do it here and then we'll play again. Let's see. Let's try twice the size. Whoa. Wow. Uh, that might be too big, but let's see. I wish there was a way I could, well, I'm sure there is a way that I could probably program in like a boost where you could like just speed through parts, but I don't know how to do that. And I
It's
certainly
fine.
can't do that right now. Um,
It's unfortunate that you destroyed the guys, the first two guys. Now they can't animate.
yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, on the next time on the next run through, I'll leave those guys to survive so we can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
them.
All good.
It's a mark of the appeal of the game, though, if I can't help
Yeah.
but shoot the things.
Yep, yep.
And it really
Very
needs
cool.
sound. Oh, yeah. But what I was saying was like with the particle effects, because right now I'm just using the ones that I got from Senti Studios, the sort of
Uh-huh.
like off-the-shelf explosions. But if we want to make them our own, make the
Mm.
explosions more interesting, more
Mhm,
appealing,
mhm, mhm.
we might, oh, that's so cool. Like as you're coming up, you're seeing
Wow.
the, oh, geez, am I
Yeah,
going to crash into
yeah.
this thing?
Whoa. Whoa, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that's actually an appropriate scale.
Yeah, I like
And then
that.
if it's like rotating, maybe the arm pieces are completely indestructible, so you can't get at the eye when
Yeah.
it's spinning around or something.
Yeah.
Oh, and it might be kind of neat to have like multiple moments where you're fighting it. Like maybe right there is the first time you see
Mhm,
it,
mhm, mhm.
and then you beat it up a little bit, and then you fly and fight some more basic enemies. And then it comes back, and you got to fight it a
Sure.
second time, and
Right.
then finally at the end of the level is like the showdown.
Well, maybe during like the story of the game is that that mini boss is trying to break orbit, and then we have to prevent it from, you know,
From
breaking orbit, right?
escaping.
Escaping, right? So we have to keep running past it in order and attack it so that it doesn't, go up. And in order to do that, we have to defeat all the ships around it, and we gotta, destroy its weak points, like hit the joints of the wings, so that we could
Mhm.
like blow that part up
Yeah,
to disable it or something. Yeah.
hell yeah.
But I love the reveal how we just kind of like passed through it like so closely next to it.
Yeah, and I like that as you're coming up the mountain, you can see like this thing start, like these horns
Yeah,
starting to
those horns,
rise
right?
up.
Yeah, it's
Like,
very cool.
whoa, what is that? And then you kind of like have a quick flyby, a close flyby, and then you get this final reveal. Yeah, like right there, you can even see like, oh man,
Oh,
what the
yeah.
hell is
Yep.
that?
Yep. 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 Was it by coincidence that you kind of rotated around this crater area?
Oh, whoops, I crashed.
Oh,
Um,
what'd you crash into?
the crater wall, I just got a little too
Oh, I
close
see.
to it.
Oh,
Oh
okay, okay.
man, I every
It's
time
okay.
as soon
It's
as I
okay.
see
It's
those
okay.
guys, I'm like, I gotta shoot them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I specifically made that crater thing like that because I anticipated at some point we wanted to put something in there, either
Hmm.
like a
Hmm.
big enemy, or I'd also thought like, what if there was a swarm of enemies that were kind of coming out of there, and so you had to like shoot them before they could get out.
Right.
Um, we just didn't have anything to put in there, but that's part of the reason why I scripted the timeline to do that
Right.
for like a placeholder for the future. Um, but yeah. Anyway, we are getting very close to being able to basically have a complete sandbox to
Hmm. Hmm.
build this first level. And then we just need to make it look sexy, add some sound and music, um,
Oh man, look at that.
maybe
Oh,
some story.
so cool. That is cool. I know that's by accident that we did that, but well, not really because you placed it there. But still, like how it's like a happy incident, right? It's
Yeah,
I love that. Like we gotta shoot it, shoot
we'll
it, shoot it.
definitely make sure that we carry that over into the final game.
Yeah.
Man, ever since we said that multiplayer thing, now I'm like, oh man, this would be so much better if this was a multiplayer game. uh,
It's like watch your six. Ah,
yeah.
you got a bogey on your six. Ah.
And then like that part when you're fighting that thing, there's going to be certain moments where like the arm is blocking your view, but your
Mhm.
buddy, he can still actually see the eye so he can get
Mhm.
shots
Mhm.
in.
Yeah.
Man, that'd be so awesome. Well, we'll
We'll get there.
keep
We'll
that
get there.
on. Yeah, exactly. Keep that
Yeah.
on the list of like, maybe we'll get to that someday.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right, cool. That thing's looking pretty badass.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Really quick. Can you really quick animate that going upwards, like just as we approach it,
Yes,
start going up towards the sky.
sure. So I want to go to my timeline. I wish I knew how to collapse these like this one. Like this one's collapsed here
Hmm. Hmm.
because that doesn't do it. Oh, here we go. I gotta click that thing so I don't see the nodes. So now I want to create a new animation track and I want it to be for this guy. Uh, okay. And where in the timeline is does this player ship get here? Can I zoom out of this? Yeah, here we go. Here we go, right? So he's down over there. So right here. Okay, so let's do okay, let's lock the timeline, start recording, grab this guy, and let me just adjust that so that's there. But earlier, like here, I'm just gonna hide him a little bit more.
Sure. Sure.
And maybe, yeah, so he's gonna do that. But we want that to happen maybe like here. But I want this to go a little bit, well, let's see. That's too fast. Click this guy. Can I not edit that node? Oh, I guess because I'm recording right now. Well, we'll make adjustments. And then what I want it to do here is maybe like start turning to see the player.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about it spinning in the Z-axis. That's cool.
Oh, was it not spin? And then let me zoom out a little bit. Now I'll have it like kind of look at the player.
Cool.
Maybe here.
What are you
Should be
looking at?
facing that way.
What are you looking at?
And
Don't
then
look at
he's
me.
there.
Nice.
And then I'm gonna do this just to see if it'll like, yeah. So now it like goes,
Nice.
pops up, kind of like looks over at the player and then follows the ship. And then as the ship leaves, it'll spin around like that. And then maybe it should go back down too. It'll like spin and go down. So maybe we could do like this and spin. Can't make it go anymore. So now it should do, yeah, it'll do like
Uh,
watch the
I
player. Oh,
I
go
I
ahead.
have a comment. I'm afraid
Sure.
if we spin with the player, then
Mm-hmm.
the from the player's POV, it'll look like the guy is not moving at all. Do you know what I mean? He's essentially
Yes.
tracking with the bad guy, with the boss.
Um, yes, that is a
Play
good
it,
point.
play it. I want to see it before you go undo or change or whatever. Yeah, I
Modify
want to
some
see
of
it.
these things. Okay, so let's see what happens here.
This is cool.
Oh yeah, don't shoot these guys. Oh, I crashed.
Oh no, oh no.
Uh,
Nice. Wow, you really got to be careful of not hitting the environment. So that's good. That's a really good thing.
yeah, it's not the at least the way the rail is designed here,
Mhm.
uh there it's the yeah, the terrain is a very real danger. You can collide with it and get killed. Not with the trees.
Mhm.
That's because of some like weird thing with the way Unity with terrain, you can populate trees with that like tree brush, right?
Right.
When you put trees in the world that way, they don't have collision or they've got this weird collision problem.
Sure.
But if you just put them in individually, then they have collision.
Right, right, right.
So I don't know, that's a thing. So now you can't see it there, and then it spirals up like that.
Oh,
And
that is
then let's
so
see.
cool. It's like I wouldn't know. Oh, hold on. Oh, whoa,
Wait, is
what
it
happened?
not moving? Oh yeah, it is, but it's just
It
slowly.
it's moving because it's moving with the camera, so it doesn't feel like we're like it's moving. If it was moving the counterclockwise, then it would be more
Then it would,
obvious.
yeah, it'd be like
Yeah.
even more extreme. Yep, we can play with it, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But that's cool. That's
there you
very,
go.
very cool. Nice job, man.
Um, Thanks. Good work to you too, making the boss model. Like that thing's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, thanks, dude. It was a definitely a team effort, man.
Hell
Took
yeah.
took a week or so or 2 weeks or so, but we got it done.
Step by step, we're getting there.
Yeah. I guess question for me is what is my homework then? What would we like to see for the next round?
Well, I think we're starting to look pretty good on the various models because we have at this point, you know, functional with 3 drones, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and the mini boss and the hero ship.
Hmm.
I don't think there's anything else we had originally said we wanted to include. If you want to start working on maybe the texture mapping and coloring for those
Sure,
elements,
sure. Uh-huh, uh-huh.
you could also start thinking about if there are things you want to start working on for the terrain, because obviously all these trees are like low poly placeholder trees.
Right,
Um, and we don't necessarily have to do an environment that's like uh trees and mountains and stuff, um or where the there should definitely be things in the landscape that you are like flying quickly over to kind of
right,
give you that sense of scale and speed, but they don't have to be trees. They could also be uh buildings. Like maybe this is some kind of remote outpost where there are little
right.
settlements of
Hmm,
people,
hmm,
and
hmm.
so you're just like flying over farmhouses and things. Or maybe this is like an old planet that used to have a civilization and now there's just ruins everywhere, that are covered with like jungle debris or
Hmm,
something.
hmm, hmm.
Um, so things like that. But really, that I think maybe is even a step further down the road. Like maybe I think the next step would be maybe texture mapping these guys, maybe working on the eye specifically to see if you can get
Right.
like a nice, vibrant, glowing. Because all I've done with these guys, if I go into the enemies, I can show you. Why can't where the hell are we? This piece right here, I just added
Hmm.
a
Uphill.
capsule.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. It's just
Cool.
that's
Yep.
all I did. And I
Yeah.
added a shader that has a mission, which is
Hmm.
basically like, gives it that sort of glow
Right,
as opposed to just being red.
right.
I don't know if there's something we can do outside of Unity and bring it in to have that effect, but we can certainly play around with either mixing and matching or doing it in Unity or doing it outside
Right.
of Unity.
It's
Um,
emissions can be a texture map. It's an emission map, and yeah, I could definitely do that in Blender as well. Which kind of reminds me, or brings up the question and the conversation starter, like, what time of day do you think this level should be? And if you ask me that question, I think we should do it like during the nighttime, where we could see like glowing stuff, like nice glow effect. I mean daytime is cool too, but if it's like during nighttime, we could see like neon glow, like the shooting of the lasers and glowing red eyes. Um,
well, the other thing too is it doesn't have to be like in atmosphere on a planet. We could do this in space, but have it be kind of like a Death Star sort of a thing where it's like
mhm, mhm,
there's a maybe it's a giant ship that you're flying really close to, or a
mm,
space station or something.
mhm,
So you're
mhm.
still having that sense of like terrain flying
Yeah,
quickly underneath you and you're going through caverns and things. Uh, but the backdrop is space. Or maybe maybe it even could be a planet like this, but it just is a planet that doesn't have atmosphere. So you've got instead of a nice, soft blue sky, you're just seeing space.
right.
Maybe it's just like a big asteroid or something. Um, but yeah, that is a good note. And yeah, like why don't we try that? Like let's try to do night or space. The only other thing that I've been thinking about is the color of the bots, at least in this particular first prototype level, is so similar to the gray of the rock background that they
Mhm,
kind of
mhm.
like blend in a lot.
Right, right.
Um, but if the bot against a blue sky is a little bit easier to see, that against a black, uh, starry night sky would probably
Uh-huh.
be very visible.
Right.
So that might not be an issue. But if we're going to have these in different terrain environments, maybe that's something to consider.
I I think what I will do as an exercise is create an environment in Blender, um, for example, in space, so that we can actually see these guys, move, and I could texture them accordingly if we are in space, let's just say.
Okay.
And the only reason why I guess I'm proposing space, or I'm liking the idea of space, is because we don't have to worry about, trees and uh, you know, all those. Well, I don't know. Trees is not that big of an issue. And also, I kind of like the whole ravine going through the valley. But then again, we don't have to use ravines. We could create our own structures to pass through, kind of like the Death Star's trench, scene, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could have like maybe the opening level is our fleet is under attack, and
Hmm, hmm.
so you are flying like through the fleet from like
Oh,
ship to
that's
ship,
so
and some
cool.
of them are like maybe giant ships, and maybe some of them have been blown apart. So then you fly to through the hole into the inside of like a giant cargo ship or something.
Right, right.
So yeah, we could do things like that. The and I definitely think that there should be space, like at some point in the like final game,
Uh-huh.
but I think there are more interesting things that you can do with terrain and with like actually being in atmosphere on planets, because then you can have
Hmm,
like, oh, this
hmm.
is the jungle area, this is the
Yeah,
lava
yeah,
area,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the mountain area.
Totally.
Um, and space is kind of like always space.
Yeah.
Um, but that said, for the first level, like I'm cool with anything. And
Hmm,
story-wise,
hmm.
like it could even make a lot of sense to start in space and be like,
Hmm,
oh
hmm.
shit, they hit the defense fleet first because that now we can't defend ourselves.
Right.
And that could be a really cool way to start the story. Like, these assholes killed everybody. Now
Yeah.
we need to fight back. But now we're on the back foot, because
Hmm, hmm. Okay. Wow, I'm getting some ideas of what to do now. Um, okay.
um yeah, so like ideas of what to do now. Like do you feel like you're clear on a homework direction on like what
In a
what to
way,
do between now and next time?
yes and no. Yes, I mean, obviously, like you said, I can start texturing the planes, all the assets, make them look good, give them a red eye, and all that stuff. But I'm also thinking of, let's try to create a scene in space for me, at least in Blender, and then see how it looks.
Sure.
And then maybe we could create like little structures that we fly past. Because obviously in space, if you don't fly past anything, you don't feel
You
like
can't
there's
even tell
any.
that you're moving. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. What's awesome about the terrain is, in on Earth is you could fly past trees and mountains and you know. Now that I'm saying
Yeah.
that, maybe it's better to be. I see. I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, there's definitely ways to do cool stuff. In fact, actually, while here, I'll let this run while I'm doing some research, but there's some Star Fox missions that are probably worth looking at. Oh yeah, that's right. So I'll close that, open this. YouTube. I crashed. I could see it. Star Fox 64 full playthrough. Don't autoplay. Oh, I need to turn that off. That's not a very good one. Fortuna Sector X. This one might be appropriate, maybe. Uh, I know there's some in here. Okay, well, I'm going to stop this and new share to Star Fox. I'm just going to kind of like skip through a couple of these things. So this is like a space mission, and obviously you can tell that there's kind of what we were talking about.
Hmm.
But this one you've kind of got like some components that you're flying through. So there's a little bit of that here. Where yeah, that gives you some sense of like, oh, I'm flying past this debris
Hmm.
in this area, or there's like this is almost like a little Death Star trench kind of a thing,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
kind of cool. Um, but a lot of their missions, and they also have these tank missions too, but a lot of their missions are like this, where you're kind of like in atmosphere. What's going on with this one? So there you go. This is kind of like
Yeah.
you've got the space skybox, but
Hmm.
with
Hmm.
a space, like a very large space station underneath that's big enough that you can actually get away with
Yeah.
um, flying around. It's kind of like terrain. What's going on in this one?
That's interesting. I forget that, in Star Fox you collect coins or rings as well.
Yeah, you get those rings. I guess there's like I can't remember what that's for. If it's like for points or to get extra ships.
Right. Whoa, whoa. Okay, yeah, this is definitely helping, giving me some ideas of what to do. Um, nice.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of options in terms of like what the environment could be like, and also different things that we can do with the terrain. Because like clearly here, the player's having to like dodge these
Yeah.
different parts of the environment to not get killed.
How do you feel about having our first stage in space versus in on the planet? Do you prefer on the
I'm
planet or in space?
mm, I'm cool with it being in space as long as it's interesting. If it's just space and the like
Hmm.
the drones are kind of flying in and you're shooting them, that's not interesting to me. But
Right.
it's kind of like, oh, you know what? Like in Halo Infinite, the opening scene, do you remember where you're like, where
Oh
Chief is
yeah.
like
Holy
floating
cow.
through?
Holy cow. That was
Mhm.
amazing first first scene.
So yeah, if we can do something like that, like this, like
Hmm.
if we could
Hmm.
do an opening level that's like this, where there are these huge ships that you're flying next to and flying into,
Right.
um, I'm totally cool with that. And like ships getting like broken apart and then
Yeah.
you're flying through the decayed components of it. Let's skip a little bit further ahead. Oh yeah. Spoilers for anybody who hasn't played Halo Infinite. Well, I mean, this is the first 30
Yeah,
seconds of the
yeah,
game,
it's
first
fine.
2 minutes of the game. And definitely well worth playing or at least checking out. The campaign is has some really amazing cutscenes.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it didn't get, yeah, this particular video doesn't get there, but I think we know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, like we could definitely do space, as long as we have some of those points of interest and that
Hmm.
you're
Hmm.
flying next to stuff.
Right.
I'm cool with it.
Okay. All right. Um, okay. I will create some like environments and for us to fly through.
Sure. And another thing too is before the like one of the last lectures in this tutorial that I'm doing is for skybox and
Mm,
lighting.
mm,
So when I get to that, I can probably start playing with some of the uh, some more space type skyboxes
mm.
and things of that nature.
Cool. Very cool. All right. So for my homework, I'll go ahead and create an environment in space where we can fly through in and out of objects to make it interesting is and it's not just like a black void, right? Just to kind of prove to myself and you if doing it in space is better than doing it in on the Earth terrain. And I don't want to
Sure.
throw out the Earth terrain yet because what you have right now, it's very, very cool. And I don't know how we got to space. Why I don't know. I forget how we
Oh
uh
yeah.
s-
Well, we're talking about what time of day and then
oh
nighttime
sure.
and then
Right.
maybe no atmosphere so you can see space and then maybe it's just in space and then
Right.
off to the
W-
races we went.
Yep. Okay. Uh, give me give me 1 week to pursue this it and to see if it's just like whoa, Chris and Michael, let's, dial it back because I kind of I don't I want to make sure it's not something too crazy for us to do. Like if we do design this in space, is it gonna take forever for me to like create all the various assets uh for us to fly through and everything? Which may or may not. It doesn't. I mean, if it does take a lot of time and energy, that's absolutely fine. As long as it's cool. We have to make it cool. That's in my opinion, this is like our pilot level, right? It's like a pilot for a show. It's if I wanted to make it as cool as possible. So
Yeah,
if it is in
yep,
space,
I completely agree.
yeah. So if it is in space, I want to make sure that the thing, whatever we're flying through, the star trench, it will look uh, uh, impressive. Fingers crossed. You know,
Yeah,
yeah.
sure. Yeah, and if we, yeah, and you can have more time than a week, like because I think if we get to the point where we're like, yes, we want to make the full game and have like all these levels, the first level, the first prototype level was a huge success. Like, let's make the rest of the game. We're definitely going to want a space level, at least one,
Hmm
if not more.
hmm Right.
So we should do it uh, and stick to it until we're successful. I don't think
Right.
it's a thing that's like let's try this, and if it doesn't work, then we'll abandon it. I think
hmm
it's a worthwhile effort to figure out. Period.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay. That definitely will be my next step for what's today? Today is Wednesday, right? No, today is
Sunday.
Sunday. And for Wednesday, I'll come up with some things for us to look at in
Sure.
the
Okay.
environment. Yeah, cool. Very, very cool.
Rock and roll, man.
Yeah, yep, yep. Awesome. And Redline Dragon asks, is it going to be a shop for skins or color sets?
Uh, Good question. I don't know. We have talked about including some way because I mean Chris made this in the concept phase for the hero ship, a whole bunch of ship designs that many of which we were pretty excited about, but we had to kind of dial down and pick one.
Hmm
Um, but it would be cool if there was a way in the game for you as the player to choose, like, oh, I want to use this ship, or I want to
hmm
use, this other ship that looks more like an F-16. And I really like the one that looks like Samus's ship from the Metroid series. Um, so possibly, I think when we get to the point where this is like an actual full retail product, that's almost certainly going to be in the game. Some
Right.
aspect of that's going to be in the game. Right now, for the first MVP, the prototype level,
hmm
we're just going to use the one ship. But yes,
Yeah.
good question, and I'm glad you asked because it definitely shows interest in like, hey,
hmm
what
hmm
if there's a way for me to change the spaceship and the color?
Right. I think the customization is a very important aspect because everyone wants to have their own unique skin. And especially if you have a multiplayer mode, you obviously want to make sure you don't look like your friend's ship, right? That's
Totally.
fine if you do, but it'd be better if you guys have your own various colors. But yeah, I totally agree with you, Michael. For now, as we start off with our first level, if it's just person shooter, or not first person shooter, first game, we'll just stick with just one ship and then just make that game playable. We'll worry about like customization and all that wonderful stuff a little bit later down the road. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because right now the plan before we cross any of those other bridges is still just to get one functional, polished, playable first level
hmm hmm
and let people play that and give us feedback and let us know, hey, this is amazing. This is a lot of fun. Where's the rest of the game? Or,
hmm
ooh, this is broken in these spots and here's some bugs over here and this part isn't fun. And then if we need to do work, um, then we can do that before we build the rest of the game.
Yeah, yeah.
So step
Good
one is
question.
just,
Yeah, good question.
yeah, prove to ourselves that we can do it.
Yeah. It's this is going fairly well and to be honest, kind of fast. Uh in that we've already got our mini boss. We got three working ships, and have programmed the ship, and you're able to blow things up, and you're able to shoot lasers. It sounds to me like the next step is just keep
Make the
going and
game.
make the game, right? I know we keep saying that. I mean, we are making the game. It's just what is the next step, right? I think like yeah, just start adding music, um, adding I don't know like the atmosphere. Um, like again, it's probably you're gonna have to tell me after you're done with the tutorials. You'll be like, oh, Chris, this is the next thing we might want to think about. And because right
Totally.
now I'm looking at our game as of now. It's like, oh wow, it's more or less done. We just got to polish it up a little bit. Like for me, texture the robots and texture the hero plane, and that's about it. Add more enemies to shoot at, and add uh add music in the background, sound effects. Oh, that's right, sound effects. And then yeah,
Mhm.
and then we're there. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. Um, and I think those things are potentially even though they seem like, oh yeah, just check the box, like add music, add sound effects. I think those are potentially going to take quite a bit longer because those are
sure,
things that are not like that they're not as easy as just like Googling, how do I add music in Unity?
right,
We're gonna have to find music that fits with the game that we're trying to do. And if we can find like royalty-free music, then we can
right.
use that. If we can't, then maybe we have to find somebody who can make music
Hmm.
for us. And then we're gonna have to, then that's a whole thing and a deal of like auditioning to see like, oh, is this person's music appropriate for what we're trying to do here? Like
Right.
maybe they're really good at what they do, but it's a totally different style of music
Hmm.
than what we're
Hmm.
looking for.
Hmm.
And sound effects, the same sort of thing. um this is where like it would be great to have like a sound guy that we can
Yeah,
throw this off to, and not like
yeah,
me and you have to like, okay, I'm taking off my one of the 15 hats that I'm wearing and
yep,
adding a 16th one. um but yeah, we're gonna have to do that at some point here pretty
yeah.
soon.
Right, right, right. Well, I think the easiest thing is just for us to look for a royalty free, just pay for the sound effects, and then just use it in our game. And the question is, does it fit within our game? I think that makes a huge
Right.
difference. Because in my opinion, sound is like 50% of the the game, the movie. Like if you take music or sound away from a movie, it's not as impactful, and it's all because of the music in the background that makes it like super epic. That three
Yep.
four dun 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 dun.
Totally.
That makes your blood pumping when you see like
Hell yeah.
the attackers coming. It's like ah, But if there's like chirp 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 chirp, people running and there's no noise, it's like oh, it's
Yeah,
kind
that
of
sucks.
yeah, it
Yeah.
sucks.
I I had a video production teacher in high school who used to say that audio without video is radio. Video without audio is crap.
Yeah, totally agree.
And that stuck with me forever. I was like, oh, wow, yeah,
Absolutely,
sound is
absolutely.
so, so important.
Yeah, yeah. It totally makes up for again like 50 in my mind. It might be more, but for me, it's 50% of the music, 50% of the movie, 50% of the video game. So music definitely is very important. And because we don't have a sound guy, I think you and I are just gonna uh we'll feel it out, right? I mean, we'll do research and we'll find music that it's like, oh, this kind of piques my interest. Obviously, I play a little bit of piano, but that means crap. Like when it comes to video games, right? Or movies and whatnot. I'm not gonna like sit there and compose anything. I'm not freaking
Yeah,
Hans
right.
Zimmer. I wish I was, but I'm not.
Or like on the special effects side, like we're not going to go out into the field with like recording
Yeah,
equipment and be
yeah.
like,
Like
banging
hit
screwdrivers
or the
on
wires.
metal
Uh,
columns. Like, oh, that
yeah.
makes a cool noise. Like, let me record it,
Ayoo!
or have like a Foley studio with,
Right.
celery and potato chips to like make,
Yeah.
yeah. I have acquired a decent amount of royalty-free music and sound effects through various Humble bundles. The
Right.
libraries are pretty big though, and like eclectic. It's not like, oh, you're making a rail shooter game. Like here's the music for that. It's more like here's like 500 sound effects of just random stuff. And so there's like,
Right.
pig noises in there, and there's fart
Yeah. Right.
noises in there, and there's
Right.
like explosions and car crashes and doors closing and things. So
Yeah.
we might be able to find some of what we're looking for in this stuff that I've kind of like collected over the years.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but if not, and really that might be perfectly appropriate for us to try to like make do with that
Hmm.
for now for like the
Right.
first level. And then if we get to a point where we're like either happy with it, then it can just go into the final game. And we
Yeah.
say like we really love to do custom music, but we can't afford to hire a composer right now. So for the
That.
first game, we want to get something out. We're just going
Right.
to live with this. And in a future game, or if the game is successful, then maybe we go back and do a patch update where like, hey, no more royalty free music. Like the game was so
Right.
successful, we're actually able to hire a composer who
Hmm.
can
Hmm.
who made this amazing soundtrack for us, and now the game's
Right.
even better.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, absolutely. Two things. One, June Alice, we see you. Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for stopping by. June Alice is a amazing artist. I've been watching her stream for the past week. She's super talented, and she also says hi. Hi, friend of Chris. Heart, heart, heart.
Hi, June
Um,
Alice.
and second is that yes, I think that's when the whole Kickstarter campaign will entail raising funds for, either buying better quality stock footage music or maybe hiring someone to, create that music for us. So I think that
Totally.
definitely is a possibility because yes, I totally agree. Music is very, very super important in order to make things super epic. I will send you a link later of a soundtrack in that I heard from Battlestar Galactica. It has kind
Sure.
of like a taiko beat drum. It's like the
Oh, hell yeah.
Galactica is in conflict with the Battlestar Pegasus. And then basically they're both good guys, but because of like internal conflicts, they have to like they shoot out little planes, and then they have to essentially attack each other. And both sides are like, are we really freaking doing this? Are we really gonna kill our own people? And then you have like this taiko playing of background, doom, 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 doom. It's like, oh my
Cool.
god, and it just gets the heart pumping, and it's very, very epic, very, very powerful. I'll definitely share that with
Yeah,
you
please.
later. Yeah, it's from Battlestar Galactica, one of my favorite shows ever. When I was still in art center, I watched that in the background while designing spaceships and whatnot. It,
Hmm.
it 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 kept me company. So yes, definitely. Um,
Fantastic.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm definitely I don't know, more excited. I'm already excited, but I'm a little bit more pumped in that seeing what you've done so far this week. Just the not just only under hood with the optimization, but because I know now that you're thinking about the optimization stuff, it's going to make the game run even more smoothly. Because for me, I know on my end, keep the verts low. That's all I know. That's it.
Yeah.
Keep the verts low, and yeah, that's it. But for you, you definitely have a lot of work to do in understanding how to make it more optimized. I don't know, but you're learning how to do that. So I think that's great.
Yeah, I definitely don't, I'm no expert yet, but yes, I
Sure.
am starting to learn. And I have a strong feeling I'll learn a lot more down the road in
Right.
like after we've shipped this game and
Right.
move on to subsequent games. I'll come back and be like, oh man, I can't believe how poorly optimized I I thought it was great at the time, but like, oof, like when you go back and look at your old artwork and you're like, oh man,
Right.
I thought those proportions were correct. Oof.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Connecting.
Oh,
We got
screen drop.
disconnected. Yeah. We dropped.
Well, it happens.
Yep. All right. Cool. So yeah. We will wrap it for this phase. and then we will take some Q&A questions. So yeah, thank you so much, Michael, for sharing all the stuff. And for next week, I will definitely share more, the kind of prove to myself and you that doing it in space will also work as well. So that will be my goal for the next session.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm
Great.
gonna keep trucking. I don't know. I think by the next time we meet, I'll definitely have enemy hit points done.
Hmm.
Um, Not sure if I'll have gotten to enemy waves yet, but maybe.
Nice. Nice.
Enemy hit points for sure though.
Nice. Very cool. All right, man. We will end it for this stream. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week or on the next show, which is Wednesday.
Uh, yeah, and
Yeah.
reminder, we are here every Wednesday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Um, so yeah, so if you like what we're doing, you want to come hang out with us while we make a video game, while we learn to make a video game, we'll see you then.
Nice. All right. See you guys later. Bye.